Hi everybody, it's Erin Scott here. So let's tap in with an intuitive choice reading for your 2020. Essentially, typically I do this at the solstice point, and indeed I pulled these cards on the solstice for you, which in the Eastern US time zone was the 21st of December. So these are imbued with the solstice energies, but essentially what we're pulling here, what you're tapping into here, are going to be your growth edges for the next 12-month cycle. So we're tuning into your 2020 year. You can see here that I have 3 sets of cards. I have a palmistry deck, which you see over on the right. I have the wild Kuan-Yin oracle, which I have here on the left. And then I have a selection of angel cards, Findhorn angel cards, which are in the center. So I'm going to let you tap in and look at this to really feel into what is calling to you. And we're going to listen right now to a wonderful piece by Scott Buckley. It's about 3+ minutes long. And during the course of your meditation process, tuning in, just fall into it and see where your eyes lead you. And then at the end, I'm going to come back on and we're going to do the reveal and I'm going to read to you what the meanings are, okay? So I'm going to move my cursor here off of this page, all right? And we're going to go ahead and take a deep dive. Sorry, everybody. You know what I'm going to do here is I'm going to turn this up. So let's start again. I'm going to start from the beginning. Let's start again. So tap in. And what I suggest for you is that you look at one of the reds, one of the purples, and maybe 1 to 2 of the angel cards. Okay, beauties. So if you need more time to feel into what is calling you, which of these cards is calling you, please go ahead and put this video on pause. I'm going to go ahead and do the reveal now, okay? Here we go. So this is going to be hard for us to read, but I have the cards in front of me, and I can also enlarge this, which I will do with these cards. You're going to notice that these are upside down. This one is upside down, so it's a little bit hard to read. I apologize. It's the layout of the spread. So let's start over here. Let's start on this right side, and we're going to start at the top. If you selected the Palmistry deck top card, you selected Mercury. I am going to read to you what Mercury is talking to you about. Now keep in mind, you are selecting your maturity point, your growth edge, the thing that is asking for you to focus on it and indeed attend to it, to grow it and mature it and evolve it in 2020. So the Mercury card, and you can see here on the deck itself, in fact, let's go ahead and let's get this a little bit bigger, so you can see it, right? So you can see the circle here on the pinky, right? Communicate your message. Now, the circle here on the pinky and the top of the palm underneath the pinky, you can apply acupressure to these points over the course of this year as it calls to you, as you recall it, and as it calls to you, as it's aligned for you. So with regards to Mercury, this is your reflection for 2020. Good communication is an art form. To throw a can of paint on the ground is to make a mess. To use the right colors with a proper brush and canvas is to bring joy to others. Understand your message needs to be heard and bring it to your audience with style, flair, and tact. Who is your audience? By sharing your message with the right audience, it will be received with interest. Remember that if you are curious about something, others will be too. So that is your growth for 2020. Now, if we go to the enlarged second card, right, we have the air element. And you can see that the air element, everybody, has the palm circled and the middle finger. So the entirety, essentially, of the palm and the middle finger are accessing the air element. So acupressure to these areas of the palm can aid in activating it over the 2020 cycle. Use curiosity to enhance your vision. So let me read it here. This is your reflection for the 2020 cycle. When we are curious, we ask questions. These questions help us to look for answers. Answers are what lead us in new directions. Don't have tunnel vision. In other words, it is not optimal for you to have tunnel vision in this 2020 cycle. Write down a list of topics that you're familiar with but don't know very much about. Each day, choose one of these topics and do a search on the internet or go to the library or the bookstore. Find out more about it and be thankful that information is easily accessible. This card is also a reminder for you to spend time in fresh air. Open some windows in your house and let the air circulate. So you not only want the air to circulate in your lungs, but the air of thought and consciousness to circulate in your mind. This is really the growth for you in 2020. Now, if we go to the third card down here, you had Party Zone. Now, Party Zone has come up multiple times this year in 2019. It's fascinating. So definitely it's a big growth edge for a large population of people, right? And so with Party Zone, everybody, you can see here that we have the bottom of the ring finger as the point of place to use acupressure on to catalyze this particular narrative. Well, The topic here is be sociable. Be sociable. So let me read that. And obviously we know what this is referring to, but it's important to also read here what's written. This is written, by the way, by Cindy Solano. Party zone, where are you? Here it is. Okay, so your reflection for 2020 is this. Humans are social beings by nature. Nothing is truly meaningful until it is shared. Imagine that you just had the best day of your life. You landed the perfect job, you made all the lights to and from your interview, you found the best restaurant afterwards to celebrate. How much less meaningful would these events in your life be if you didn't have somebody to tell them about or tell about them? Life is meant to be shared. Think of a friend that you haven't spoken with for a while. Maybe call them up to get together. Plan a party or a fun night on the town. It is therapeutic for all of us to spend time with people that we care about. And what I want to say with that is I can't say that I fully agree with all of the ways by which this particular author expresses. However, there's truth in that sharing brings a particular meaning. Humans are inherently sociable, and there's value in isolation at times. There are certain themes and cycles in our lives where isolation and more internalized work and process is simply the correct alignment for that time frame. So I want you to understand that. But the point is, if you did select this card, if you did select this theme, indeed, 2020 is asking you to grow your connections, your social network, your activities outside of yourself, and include other people. Okay? Now, down at the bottom, if you selected this bottom card, and we'll start to kind of move it over at this point. So this is the loop of intuition. The loop of intuition. Now, the bottom of the card reads, again, it's upside down, so it's a little bit hard to see, but it says connect with your intuition. Okay? And you can see here that this part of the palm is what is the point of acupressure, and you can use that over the course of 2020. So let's take a look at loop of intuition. For you, your growth edge is try to understand the ebbs and flows of the world. This will help your intuition to increase. Releasing doubt in what you sense and feel can help you be the most of yourself. The more you are true to yourself, the more your intuition will grow. Take time for quiet reflection, and that will allow your inner voice to be heard. Go to a space without distractions. Close your eyes and ask a question about something with which you wish to know. Let me repeat that. Close your eyes and ask a question about something you wish to know the answer to. The answers are already inside of you. Does a thought come into your head? How about a feeling? Trust the answer that comes from the heart and follow through with it. Now, what I will bring to this is the fact that 2020 now, and as we enter 2020 and throughout the 2020 cycle, and indeed forward for the next several years, groundedness, clarity, stillness, and a connection to your inner knowing and your inner compass is of utmost importance. So those of you that selected Loop of Intuition, this is asking you, this year is a time frame for you to grow and evolve your intuitive knowing. This is not about looping out into Neptunian fantasy. This is about connecting in to the truth of your source. It's different, very different. So think about that, meditate upon that. All right, beauties, so there is that. Now, let's go back again so we can see the whole spread. Now, let's start up here at the top. I'm gonna zone in on it so you can see it a little bit better, but let me tell you what it is. This is the Wild Kuan-Yin deck, okay? And if you selected the top left card, this is number 16, Grandmother Ensures Safe Crossing. So let's start there, all right? Let's get bigger here, and we'll go up to the top. And we'll even pull over just a little bit, I think, too, right? There we go. So this is the card here. And again, I apologize, it's upside down, but you can get an indication. First of all, we can see the coloration here. We can see the number 16, which is important to note. Now, number 16 in the I Ching is enthusiasm. So I want you to kind of tap into the sub-layer of this, of enthusiasm, as a sub-theme for the year. The other thing that I'm going to mention here is that 16 is a karmic number. 1 is the individual, 6 is balance, 7 is kind of the great mysteries. And 16 does indicate karmic process. So inherently, before we've even read a word of this card, for you, the growth in 2020 is going to require an allowance, a certain level of allowance, and even a level of enthusiasm. Again, this is not about going into some Neptunian or Uranian offshoot. It's about groundedness and a depth, a grace in accepting the journey of your process, which is, again, specific to your distinct blueprint. So let's take a look. Now, this is a little bit longer of a read. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I am going to read some sections here for you, okay? This is Kuan-Yin speaking to you. This is what the kind of the core message is for you for 2020, for your growth. This is what you are to grow and evolve and pay attention to mindfully this year. You have a journey ahead of you. There is a particular path that you are meant to take, so that you shall be in the right place at the right time to encounter the experiences that you are meant to have and the people that you are meant to meet. This journey will lead you across the water, far away from what you have known. To bear the crossing of the water, you must lose sight of the shore. It is part of your destiny, your sacred life path, to take this journey. So, although you may feel excitement or fear, hope or uncertainty about whether you are up to the task, know that it is meant for you, and grandmother shall watch over you. She shall give you means for the journey and ensure that the crossing of the water is safely undertaken. Be light of heart, beloved, even as you may mourn what is left behind, for this journey is divinely blessed and will bring great success. Now, this is written by Alana Fairchild. I love Alana Fairchild. I love her writing. I love her intelligence. I love her depth that she brings to the narratives of these cards. And I also want to clarify or bring my perspective here with this card for you to say that this life is showing you a direction, and you are to participate in it. You are not to sit back and let life knock on your door and show you this divine path. This is for you to attend present moment awakeness. This is to be present and awake and to participate, to follow the impetus, to follow the call, to follow the bliss. You're engaging with life. It's a feedback loop, so you have to participate in it. There is a karmic process at play this year for you. We have 16, and the articulation that she just gave speaks to that. So participate. Because otherwise, there's something else going on that is going to either undermine or self-sabotage. If you're sitting in a place of victim and I'm waiting to be the recipient of, That's just not how it works, because that's not how life works. Your participation is required here, in other words, okay? Now, if we go to the second card down here, this is a beautiful card. This is number 17. Now, amazingly, we have 16 and 17. These were this is a shuffled deck. This is a very well shuffled deck. So just FYI on that, okay? This is number 17, Sacred Falcon Shows the Way. Sacred Falcon shows the way. Now, in the I Ching, 17 is following, which is about essentially going with the flow. Going with the flow, okay? Now, let's take a look at what Kuan-Yin, or what the theme is for you, and indeed what Kuan-Yin is speaking to you here. My wisdom is embodied in nature. I speak to you through the language of the natural world. You will understand my guidance for you as you trust in your observations of nature. Look for my signs. My language is symbolic, humorous, clear, and loving. I talk to you every day, my divine wild child. Within you are the wild instincts and loving intuitions that can recognize my signs, the presence of my guiding hand. I am speaking to you. Believe. This is simply truth here. What your guidance is for 2020 is to, again, to pay attention, to see through clearer eyes how the earth is animate, how it is conscious, and how it is communicating. And everything is symbolic. Everything is archetype. Everything is story. So everything reflects everything else, and everything underneath it all is consciousness speaking. So for you, 2020 is a time for you to align, to see clearly. It will bring peace, and it will allow you to understand natural coherence and synchronicity and organizing principles that underlie all of nature. For those of you who chose this card, for those of you who resonate with this message, what I would say to you is you might be interested in my work and my deeper work of holosynthesis. So you can keep in touch. You can see the details below this video and, sign up for my newsletter and follow my journey, okay? Because there might be information that will serve you, okay? Now, if you selected this card, let's go down to the bottom here. This is number 14, Fearless. Number 14, Fearless, okay? Now, number 14 in the I Ching is affluence. It's also known as the great possessing. So 14 is large, flowing energy, abundance, okay? So fearless. Let's take a look at what Alana writes. So this is, again, Kuan-Yin speaking to you, all right? Now is your time to leap. So this is your focus for growth in 2020. Now is your time to leap. Put the past behind you. Do not hesitate. Do not fear. You don't need to know how it is all going to work out in order for everything to work out perfectly. According to my greater plan for you, let me read that again because I misspoke it. You don't need to know how it is all going to work out in order for everything to work out perfectly, according to my greater plan for you. This is not a time for small, tentative steps. This is a time for a big gesture, meaning 2020 is a time for a big gesture from you. to take a chance, and to be bold. So take a running leap with your eye only on where you are going. Your body will trust you, and I will protect and guide you. Let us leap together, fearlessly, into the unfolding future of your divine destiny. It will be a wild ride. So 2020 is a time for courage, if you selected this card. 2020 is a time for movement, action, decision, and willfulness, determination. You know, this is about bold moves, but not for the sake of bold moves. This is about bold moves that are aligned with the impetus, the natural impetus that's coming for you, not the neighbor, not the competitor. This is your story. So what is your story? What is the thing calling you? What is your fear that's keeping you bound and enslaved? So 2020 is a year for you to step out. Okay. Now, if you selected this bottom card here, this is number 7. Number 7. Let your world spin on its axis. Let your world spin on its axis. Now, number 7. Number 7, you know, it's interesting. What I'm looking at here says number 7 is army. Army. One of the names for the hexagram number 7 in the I Ching is army. That's not the one I'm used to, though. Organized discipline is how I know it to be. So it's called army according to some, and it's called organized discipline according to others. And there's probably actually many names for it, to be quite frank. But that gives you an idea of it. Organized discipline is about, it takes effort and clarity and decision and organization and effort to get to that which has value down beneath, that which is hidden or that which is underground, etc. So it takes determination, but it also takes planned organization, structure, decision, etc. All right. Now, for those of you that selected this is Kuan-Yin speaking to you. This is your growth for 2020. This is what you are to grow, you, in 2020. My gift of disarray, of the chaos where all seems upside down and inside out, is an offering to your soul in response to your deepest heartfelt prayers. There are times when change is needed in order for a dream to manifest. It may be too much for you to go through that change voluntarily. Too great is your fear of loss or attachment to your known world. Too radical is the transformation that is needed to support the manifestation of your dreams. Yet your heart aches for healing, freedom, and true expression. I answer your prayers with what is needed to bring them to fruition. Sometimes that means life will appear to be messy for a time, but know that this is nothing to fear. Tumultuous, though it may appear at first, soon it will take shape into a loving new form, gifted to you from me, your divine mother, who loves you without condition. Obviously, what this is saying, and again, if we're talking about organized discipline and army being kind of a sub-narrative of this number 7 card, that's quite interesting, is it not? Because there might be, for those of you that selected this card, perhaps you have lived much of your life with a fear of disorganization, a fear of the unknown, a need, a grip that I must know what's next, I must know what's coming, I must know that I'm doing the quote-unquote right thing, that I'm not off path. I could go on and on. And what this card is saying is, Please allow the natural process of chaos that is now occurring in your cycle, because that's part and parcel to your 2020. And for you, there's a necessary growth for you to follow the natural flow that is the wave, the wave of change, the wave of growth. For those of you that want to understand about what is happening for your 2020 cycle, you can go to my link below the video, right? For a 2020 in-depth analysis where I look at the different layers of your growth, the different tiers of your natural evolutionary cycle based on your blueprint, based on your natal blueprint. It's very important that, because there is going to be a lot of, let's say, dismemberment that's going to be going on for some, and there's going to be a lot of rearticulation going on for most of us. There's a new paradigm of self that is beginning really at the end of the 2020 cycle. And what's happening prior to that is a disintegration of, and a honing of, and an imbuing of your power in what you are here to bring forward and what you're here to align to. So what is your story? What's your blueprint? What's your current evolutionary process? Okay, everybody? Now, beautiful, beautiful messages there. Let's talk about these. Now, the angel cards. Now, let's go ahead and adjust the image here, right? So you can see them up close. Move this over a little bit more. Beautiful. Now, we'll start up here, right? We'll start on this right side. We have birth, enthusiasm, wisdom, efficiency, patience, joy, surrender, support, kindness, and inspiration. We have peace, spontaneity, and transformation. We have understanding and simplicity and obedience. Now, obedience can be misunderstood. Obedience is about obeying the call, the inner impetus, your natural evolutionary impulse within you. What is your soul? What is your psyche? What is your inner essence pushing to expand into? Obey the call, listen to the call, follow your bliss. So this can be misinterpreted. It's very important that it not be. All right. Now, feel in. These are for you to feel into. There's really nothing for me to explain with these narratives here. What I would recommend is that you pause the video, maybe take a closer picture here at the angels. In fact, let's see if I can go a little bit closer. How about that? Yeah, see, this is a really good image. You can see pretty closely here. Let's start at the top. There we go. So you can see with birth, she's holding a baby. With enthusiasm, what is she doing? I think she has a scarf and she's holding a flag. She might be cheering on, a team or something. With wisdom, it's like the hermit. She's on a mountaintop with a lantern. Up here with efficiency, it's hard for me to see that one. Even with my card, it's a little bit hard to see. She's underneath what looks like a table with baskets on it. I'm not sure what this is, everybody. You can really feel, let it speak to you. Pause the video, let it talk to you, because there's something here for you. With regards to patience, we have an angel sitting in a chair. I think she might be, this is, again, a little bit hard to see, even in the card. She's either holding some sort of a wand, waiting. She's waiting. Or she is like crocheting, and I'm not sure which one. With regards to joy, there are 3 angels here. There's hearts, they're floating, they're flying, they're laughing, they're joyful. Different colors too, right? With regards to surrender, the white flag is being shown here. You know, and if you did select surrender for your 2020, the theme for the year, the main theme of growth for you is about allowance, letting life have its story, letting others have their process. Surrender to your blueprint, surrender to your story. It is people's resistance to their own narratives that creates the suffering. And then within that story, there's a lot to unfold and unpack. But surrender. All is well. Allow the blueprint. Allow your story. Allow all the inner aspects to be heard and healed and rehold, and go with the natural narrative of your particular life, your path, your blueprint. Here we have support, and you can see that one angel is giving support to another, and I'm not quite sure. Oh, one is giving a leg up to another on a wall. So one is helping another climb over a wall, right? So if you picked this year, this is about being supportive, you know, not only supporting yourself in the ways that you need support and really following the, you know, finding the resources you need for the support that you need, but it's providing that for others as well. If you selected inspiration, this is a fantastic image. It is an angel painting looking at the mountains and the sunset. So this is about being inspired by life and letting that catalyze the natural creative impetus within you. It's also about being an inspiration. So as within, so without, as without, so within. It's both connected. So the more you're inspired and that you bring forward your inspiration, you help others get inspired, and the feedback continues. All right, beautiful. Kindness, if you selected kindness, there's an angel here with a bird on her hand, with a rabbit here, with another animal here, I think. So kindness, that's a beautiful one. There's a simplicity to the cards that came forward this year, which I think are quite stunning and really perfect and quite beautiful. All right. If you selected peace, now this one is an angel. Again, it's a little upside down, but the angel is underneath a tree. Underneath a tree, sitting at the base of a tree. Stillness, being, connectedness. The reason why the earth creates peace within human beings is because we get reminded about our natural pulse, our natural energy flow, our natural organizing principles. We remember ourselves, in other words. So nature will be key if you selected this card in 2020. Spontaneity. Spontaneity. What is this angel doing? Gosh, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. It almost looks like a karate move or something. Maybe it's like spontaneity, you know, be prepared for any action necessary. Yeah, it's a little hard for me to tell what that image is doing, but again, let it speak to you. With regards to transformation, we have from dark to light. You know, this is the alchemic process shown here, right? From lead to gold, literally. That's what's happening with this angel. So indeed, transformation really is the name of the game for a main theme for the 2020 cycle. If you selected transformation, this is about following the transformation that's actually calling you. The more you resist the natural knowing, the inner knowing of the transformation that's necessary, whether it's with your diet, your health, your body, your exercise, whether it's with your mind, your data, your technological addictions, distraction tactics, your emotional patterning, your wound patterning, the unconscious aspects that are driving you, that you're not clear what they're about and what they're doing, what the function of them is. Everything has function within your story. So what is the function of the wounded patterns? It very well could be the psychology. There is definitive, a big, huge narrative for humanity as a whole that mental processes are playing out this year, big ones. There's going to be transmutations that are going to help clear those that are on the evolutionary journey, and there are processes that are going to grip further tightly to those that are really on a more devolving trajectory. And for those of you who've been following me for a long time, and I mentioned it earlier in a member video that I did this morning, what I will say is it was back in 2016. It was at the end of 2016 when I felt, I knew, and I communicated with you, with the audience, with regards to the severed track that really became, let's say, catalyzed and exacerbated. And we've been seeing it ever since. So people are on different levels of growth. They're doing different things. They're making different choices, you know. So, and then at the end here, if you selected this card, this is understanding, right? And you can see that this angel is laying down reading, right? Reclining and reading, understanding. This is about learning. It's about being open to new information coming in. This is your 2020. This is the growth edge for you. This is what needs to be matured. Simplicity. If you selected simplicity, brilliant. A lot of people are going to be going through a process of simplification during the 2020 cycle, and beyond that. Simplicity of stuff, giving stuff away, cleaning up, not just like the diet, but cleaning up the possession load, cleaning up technology, social media, paring things down, getting back to roots, getting back to nature, just getting back to basics. A lot of people are already in that space, and a lot more will be joining us in that space as well. And you can see here the angel, I think, is just standing, I think maybe with palms together. Simplicity, cleanness, and then obedience. Now, the image on this obedience card is the angel is on a bike at a light. She stopped at a light. So obedience is doing what's correct, doing what's aligned. And again, obedience, as I said before, is also about obeying the call. And this, it's interesting because this angel card is definitively showing obedience to kind of what is correct. What's correct? What's the ethical rightness? So there's something to be said there as well. Beautiful, everybody. I think that's going to complete our session. I send you much love for your Christmas because I'm recording this before the holidays. And for those of you watching this before the holidays, before Christmas time, I wish you all a very happy one. And for the day after, we're going to be having a new moon in Capricorn. That's also an eclipse point for us. I will have another video coming out on the astrological dynamics of that, so stay tuned for that. And of course, moving into the 2020 cycle. So for those who are authentically wanting to know more about what is happening for them, about their 2020 unfolding cycle, you can be in touch. In the meantime, I send you much love. And if you're watching this later in 2020, it will be a curious thing to kind of go back through previous weeks and months and kind of see how these themes have arisen and how you have attended to them. All right? Okay, everybody. Much love. Bye-bye.